asked questions of Obama during the Iowa campaign season. We were in Atlantic, Iowa when he was speaking there, and he knew about Rachel's case.
Before then, I asked about Biden. Okay, Craig, what did you ask?
Well, actually, it was a
president-to-be
Obama. It was strange because we were in Atlantic, Iowa, so western part of Iowa, farmland, huge farmland. We're in county fairgrounds in a cow barn, and I'm sitting on a fence behind the crowd, and the president-to-be, Obama, is actually asking people for questions, and he called on me. And so I asked a very easy question, because I just simply said, I have friends in Palestine whose homes are being destroyed, whose farms are being taken from them by the Israelis with no compensation. And I also have, and it's true, I have Israeli friends who have lost family members in suicide bombings and stuff. So what could he do to protect the farms of my friends in Palestine and also assure my friends in Israel that there wouldn't be any more suicide bombings? And then I told him why I was interested in the case and about Rachel's killing there. And he recognized the name of Rachel Corrie. He was familiar with that without an aide or his wife or somebody explaining it to him. And so he went on about 5 minutes of talking about what was necessary. And essentially a two-state solution is what he said for that. And giving his commitment to a viable, contiguous state of Palestine alongside the state of Israel, and living in peace and dignity and having a future for their people. So it was pretty much a standard U.S. stated foreign policy, not actually the foreign policy we often pursue and enforce, but what we state, and in a pretty good answer. And he went on, like I say, for about 5 minutes. It was very personal.
So back to Joe Biden. Talk about the questioning that he did of the...
Well, it was also during the Iowa campaign that with my Iowa family members, Rachel's case was brought to his attention in quite a large way. He was asked repeatedly about her case, and he did become interested. He finally said he wanted to see what was going on. And we know, we have copies of questions that he then submitted to Ambassador Designate, the American ambassador to Israel, James Cunningham, who now is the Israeli ambassador, questions that he asked about Rachel's case. He asked about what had been done in the State Department and in the embassy in Tel Aviv to pursue a thorough, credible, and transparent investigation. And he also asked whether or not they thought that there had been a thorough, credible, and transparent investigation. Clearly, getting this is important to officials in the U.S. government.
And what did James Cunningham answer?
He laid out the steps that had been taken in pursuit of a transparent investigation, and the communications that have occurred between the Department of State and Israel about the case, and indicated that they have continued to ask the Israelis to answer questions and to comply with a thorough, credible, and transparent investigation. The communication, one communication that he cited was when Maura Hardy from the State Department went to raise some issues about it, a trip that she made. And we, in a follow-up to that, had a communication from Michelle Bernier-Toth in the State Department, who said that they continue to ask questions, and that their questions go either unanswered or ignored by the Israeli government. What the ambassador assured Biden was that he would continue personally to make sure that a thorough, credible, and transparent investigation was pursued, and that was during his confirmation in 2008.
Will you try to meet with Vice President Biden in Israel?
I think it would be really helpful to us if we could, just to let him know the status of it and the significance.
What would be the significance of him showing up in court?
I don't think we're asking for him to show up in court, but I think what we're wanting, and I know our officials have to walk a very careful line. They can't appear to be interfering at all in a court process, but I think what we know is that this has continued to be a problem and a matter that U.S. officials do care about. And I think that his meeting with us and others there as well could do that. We do have an invitation to meet with the ambassador, and I think sending that message that this remains a concern to the U.S. government and that they wish to see a fair trial.
Cindy Corrie on the trial that begins today in Haifa and the Corrie family's lawsuit against Israel over the death of their daughter, Rachel, a 23-year-old peace activist from Olympia, Washington. We'll be back with the conclusion of the conversation.